So I guess we'll start out with the Notre Dame Miami post-game thoughts because that is the game on everybody's mind. This was probably the best game of the weekend, right? I mean, when you look at the big games, when you're talking about, Alabama, Florida State, and you're talking about Ohio State, Texas, and Clemson, LSU, Notre Dame, Miami, this probably was the best game of the college football weekend with the big matchups. I mean, yeah, Texas, Ohio State was close, and Clemson, LSU was close, but I mean, were those games really good? I mean, legitimately, were those good games? I mean, Ohio State, like the whole entire game until the very end when Texas finally scored a touchdown and kind of put some pressure on Ohio State to win. Ohio State, they were winning that entire game. They were going to win that game, right? Like it wasn't that good of a game. And I saw comments all over social media, people saying the game was boring, it was not that interesting, you know. And then you look at LSU Clemson, it was kind of more of the same. I mean, yeah, Clemson started out in front, and then LSU came back, took the lead, and held on. I'm just saying that aesthetically, this game here, Notre Dame Miami, was probably the best game of the weekend. We'll see what happens tomorrow night against North Carolina TCU. That game could be really great. We'll see in Bill Belichick's debut in Chapel Hill. But overall, that this Miami Notre Dame game is what you're looking for when it comes to great college football. A top 10 matchup. Both teams played well. Both teams played hard. Notre Dame had some lacking moments in this game, but then toward the end they got it together, made it a really interesting game. It's just a shame, for our good buddy Will, that Notre Dame fell short. And for people that remember Caden the Diesel Freak, he got Will to make a bet with him. I don't know if Will's here. Will's probably really upset with the loss, and I don't blame him. I'm upset for him, but it does not mean that Notre Dame's not going to make the playoffs because Will, we remember, made a bet with, Caden about making the playoffs or not for Notre Dame. Notre Dame could still make the playoffs. It's like when they lost to Northern Illinois. Their season's not over. Now, they have very little margin for error, and they don't really need to lose a lot of other games. They probably, at worst, can lose one other game, especially because this is not a bad loss at all. I mean, Miami's probably going to be good. But, yeah, Notre Dame, their season is not over at all whatsoever. And, yeah, I mean, it's just a tough loss, tough pill to swallow. I mean, really, every major game that a team lost, like LSU, beating Clemson, Clemson's season is not over. And when you look at this game, Notre Dame's season is not over. Texas's season is not over. Now, Alabama, yeah, that's not good. But Alabama's season is not over. I mean, if they turn things around, go 10-2, they'll make the college football playoff. Now that you have a 12-team playoff, losing in week one does not end your season. But you have to turn things around still. You do have a lesser margin for error than every other team that won in week one. So, yeah, Notre Dame definitely rest of the stretch of the season with C.J. Carr. I saw flashes from C.J. Carr. He did throw one interception in this game. But overall, there was a lot of great throws that he made. Showed a lot of poise for a true freshman quarterback. I liked a lot of what I saw from him. And I will say with Miami, I got to give credit where credit's due to the convicts. Catholics versus convicts. Miami, impressive. I mean, Carson Beck, I talked a lot of crap about Carson Beck in the offseason. I said that I didn't necessarily think that Carson Beck was going to go to Miami and probably do all that much. But you know what? He played well in this game. He didn't make any mistakes, really. That's the key, right? When you're talking about, quarterback play these days. I mean, you could put up a lot of stats, but if you're turning the ball over a lot, it doesn't really matter. Carson Beck took care of the ball. Carson Beck made good throws. I mean, I only saw a couple of bad throws, but everybody's going to have a couple of bad throws. He was rock solid in this game. I got to give credit where credit's due. And I will say, when you look at the fact that, his situation that he had with his relationship earlier this year and last year when he was at Georgia, that's out of the way. Maybe we're going to get the best version of Carson Beck now. Maybe he's ready to actually play high-quality football. I mean, a lot of people were high on Carson Beck. They thought that he was going to have a fantastic college career and be a first-round draft pick at one point. but he struggled at Georgia, and maybe all those distractions he had, that were part of the problem. Maybe he legitimately is good. I mean, I don't want to go out there on a limb and just completely 360. Again, I was very critical of Carson Beck, but maybe now that he's got all that behind him, maybe he's going to go out there and play high-quality football. Like I said, very impressed with Carson Beck tonight. Mario Cristobal did not have any bad coaching moments. Chris Ash, defensive coordinator, I mean, he was a terrible head coach at Rutgers, but he's a good DC. Miami, I mean, the thing is with these type of games, the teams that won, Miami, Ohio State, LSU, did they look like world beaters when they won? No, but it's week 1. They played better than the other team. So, I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due to the Miami Hurricanes. It's all about the the history that they had back in the 80s, 90s, and the very, very early 2000s before 2003 broke them. That they were a great program, and that they've been fighting and clawing and scratching to get back to the heights that they used to have. And yeah, I mean, I think that Miami, I'm not going to say they're back, but this is a really high quality win. If Notre Dame is the team that we think they're going to be this year, a 10-2 type of team, then yeah, this was a great win for the Hurricanes, and they very well could make the college football playoff and win the ACC this year. They might not win the ACC. They still could make the college football playoff and not win the ACC, but they could win the ACC. I mean, right now, after week 1, I mean, who's the favorites to win the ACC? Clemson still, Miami, Florida State. I mean, you don't want to throw out Florida State. Florida State, very good win against Alabama. We'll talk about that later in the show. But again, Miami's there. Miami, a very impressive performance. I mean, like I said, I have to give credit where credit's due. I've talked a lot of trash toward Miami, but they played good football tonight. And even if they somehow hadn't have won this game, they still look better than they have in a while. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I mean, I picked Notre Dame. I was wrong on a lot of these games. I mean, honestly, it's really hard to pick week 1. I've said this before. I've said this in years past. I've had my YouTube channel now for 3 years. I've been talking college football on here for 3 years. And I've said it since the beginning. To me, the hardest week to pick in college football is week 1 because you have nothing to go off of. You have nothing to base these teams off of except last year, which to me is getting harder and harder to do, in college football, is to use last year as a bastion to rank and rate a team for the next season because you're losing so many players to the draft, to the portal. Your teams are changing so much year over year. So it's really hard to project how good a team's going to be. And then you can use fall camp, you can use scrimmages, but even all that really isn't a testament to how good your team's going to play. I mean, people were gassing up Alabama in the offseason because of fall camp. They looked good, and we saw what they did. But, yeah, it's really hard to tell. So you kind of just rank teams based off field, based off, whatever gut you have, and, and then also using what you think a team's going to do. And most people thought Notre Dame was better. So, yeah, it's really interesting, I think. Like Notre Dame, perceived to be the better team. They were favored to win this game. A lot of people talk about Hard Rock Stadium not being the greatest because of the fact it's not in Miami. It's in Coral Gables. It's not a great environment most of the time. But Miami fans, I mean, they do show up even in Coral Gables for big games. And they were there. There were Notre Dame fans there as well. I mean, they definitely they showcased, C.J. Carr's mom a lot during the game when he was doing well. And you saw Notre Dame fans there. You knew Notre Dame fans were going to be there. But Miami fans made their presence felt. And it's a lot easier to cheer when you're winning. So Miami, again, found a way to win, found a way to hold on. I thought they were starting to get a little conservative with their play calling, toward the end of the third quarter, early fourth quarter. But, yeah, Miami eventually got it together and kicked that field goal, took the lead, and ended up winning the game. So, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, great for Miami. Again, good start to the season for the Hurricanes. And Notre Dame, tough loss, but not the end of the world for them. They still definitely can have a great season, but that is a tough loss.